Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show, sponsored by HM Company at DrainTroughs.com. Today, we have an exciting episode for you. We have co-founders of CleanCloud, John Buni and David Griffith-Jones, here with us today, and we have a lot we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, we sure do. I don't know if you guys know this, but CleanCloud's been around since 2014, and I always tell people that's kind of around when our industry kind of started to recognize pickup and delivery, and even over-the-counter POSs, and the need for it. And they were one of, I think, the first 3 or 4 companies that kind of all started around that 2014, 2015 timeframe. So here we are, we fast forward, and this is the first time having the co-founders on the show. But one, Carla, they're a wealth of knowledge. You don't have thousands of customers in 107 different countries over a 10-year period of time without learning a few things from your customers. And so we were able to get into some marketing aspects of it and some website building. And obviously we talked about the software specifically. And we even talked about some fun things like, hey, should our industry consider taking technology open source? That might pique your curiosity a little bit. I asked their opinions on it, and you might be surprised their answer. So let's jump into the episode because it's a little bit longer than usual, but we think you're going to get a lot of value out of that. So here we go with John and David.
There are operators that don't want to do that. And, my personal opinion is that, they'll probably be left behind.
Better for our customers, and we're all about making it as good as possible for our customers.
Whether you do software, whether you run a successful laundromat, it's about improving.
All right, so John and David, I'm so excited to have you to the show. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks for having us on, Carla.
Yeah, hey Carla, hey Dave.
How are you? We appreciate you guys staying up late, or at least you, John.
Well, late for John and early for David.
Right. You said you're
it's okay, it's 1 p.m. for me.
Yeah, I know it's sunny there. Did you say you're in California? Is that what you said?
Yeah, exactly. Northern California, yeah.
Gotcha.
Nice.
And before, we might as well get it out of the way right now, John. You're sitting in your new office. Upgraded, quadruple the space, I heard. So, wow, good for you guys.
So we just moved into our new 4,000 square foot office space in central London. So it's good. We've got all support team, sales team, marketing. We also have a training facility as well where customers can come and learn to use the software, bring their employees, try out new things. So
that's pretty cool.
Exciting.
Well, awesome. Before we get too much ahead of it, because I know me and Carla already know, we know you guys pretty well and know your story and your product and everything. But this episode, we just want to share with our platform and our audience who you guys are. You're some of the good guys in the industry, and we'd love for people to just get to know you guys better. So I don't want to take anything for granted. Just do us a favor and just tell us a little bit about who you guys are and take us back to the beginning of CleanCloud and how did this come to be? And I know you've been doing this for over 10 years now. So how did CleanCloud come to be? Share that story with us.
Yeah, I guess it starts sort of more than 40 years ago. So David and I have known each other since we were kids.
Really?
So we were next door neighbors. We went to the same school, same high school, and then. We obviously both then went into work, and I guess it was a fortunate sort of meeting sort of later on when I'd just been on a trip to the US. I've been traveling around the US, and I kind of had seen drive-through laundromats and dry cleaners, and I was amazed that this sort of thing existed. And then I came back to the UK and I met up with David. And we kind of started bouncing ideas off each other about, why don't we have anything, like this in the UK? And then I guess, once we looked into it, given that we both have sort of software backgrounds, we looked into, what are these guys using to manage their businesses? And, it was pretty much on-prem solutions. So like something you would buy and own outright. And then you'd use it, and then it never gets updated. And it was at the time where sort of SaaS and software as a service was also becoming a thing. And I guess that's kind of where it started. It was just like, we were very inquisitive, curious about the industry and how, how amazing it is and how it benefits the communities and small business owners. Yet it was very much being underserved, both the laundromat and the dry cleaning space. So that's kind of how we started. We built the first product. We built a basic website. I think David did some pay-per-click ads, and people started signing up from all over the world. We had customers from the UK, US, South Africa, and we did no marketing, and we were also had full-time jobs as well.
Oh, you did?
And we kind of bootstrapped the business, I think, to maybe about 400 customers.
Wow.
Just the two of us. I was doing all the sort of sales and support. David was doing all the development, and we were kind of both doing the marketing. And that's kind of how we started. And then eventually we started hiring our first employees, our first support staff, and etc. And we've sort of grown since then. And that's been like a 10-year journey from when we started to kind of to today.
Now, don't you also own like a dry cleaner laundromat?
No, so
too?
I own a tailoring company.
Oh,
Tailoring
okay.
company.
Yeah.
Okay.
My background was I had a tailoring business, which is still going today. I'm not involved today, but we made very high-end bespoke clothing. When I would go to the alterations workshops, when I would go to the big sort of factories where they make the garments, I became very interested in garment tracking and things like that. And these are all the experiences and things that have sort of fed into, the product that we have today.
Okay, so you were kind of industry adjacent, and then you kind of saw that there was a real need, especially like in the UK, because you saw laundromats and dry cleaning were very different in the US as opposed to what you had in the UK.
Exactly.
Okay.
And, like David's background is very much technology, and my background, I guess, was more on the fashion and the industry part of it, and then we kind of combined together. We were inspired by what you have in the US, these big drive-through. We didn't have anything like that in the UK. Pick up and delivery laundry was like it wasn't a thing. Who did that?
It was kind of like the big pain point at the time in the UK was just the fact that everything was on paper. So the dry cleaner, the whole thing was you would have a paper ticket. If you'd had it in the US before as well, right? If you lost your ticket, that could be an issue when you went to the dry cleaner. So
You got a receipt? I can't find a receipt. You should get the receipt. Look, forget about the receipt, all right? Even if I had the receipt, look at it. It's a hand puppet.
in kind of year one, that was the main pain point we were trying to do, just digitize all of that stuff, get rid of like having to hold on to your receipts, your tickets, like all of the SMS and email notifications, like.
When did you all start with your software into pickup and delivery? Because at first you're just trying to, the POS system as far as like the tagging and stuff. When did you all add kind of a pickup and delivery element to it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So at the beginning, it was just about like the in-store stuff, like solving those kind of point of sales questions. But like it came very soon after. It was both like stuff coming from our customers wanting pickup and delivery services done by the software. But it was also like, you know, investors that at that time, the market was very hot. Because, you know, there were all of these kind of like Uber services, DoorDash, all of those kind of things. And so like they were looking for the equivalent in dry cleaning and laundry. So like we very quickly pivoted and started adding all of the kind of pickup and delivery stuff. So I think maybe we started adding that in year 2. So it might have started like being launched around 2015, 2016. It came very, very soon. And then we just kind of kept on building it out from there. And then the kind of product just kind of ballooned. And, you know, we tried to provide every kind of service possible that you would need in the laundromat or the dry cleaning space. And then we've just been like continuously improving it.
Let's talk about financing your next laundromat project for just a second. Whether you are purchasing an existing laundromat, building a new store, or just buying a small set of equipment, Eastern Funding has financing solutions to help you on your laundromat journey, just as they have me and Carla in the past. Eastern Funding has been financing laundromats since 1997, and they have helped thousands of owners get their deals done. They are specialists in the laundry space, and their combination of personalized service, expertise, and custom financing solutions makes them the premier lender in our industry. Learn more at easternfunding.com for your next project. Special thanks to the folks over at Eastern Funding for helping us to sponsor this episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show. Now back to the show.
I have a question. So for the newbie out there that is looking at, do they want CleanCloud? Can you tell me in very basic terms
Yes,
for
they
someone?
do.
This is a yes or no question.
Yes, they do. Can you tell me what all CleanCloud does? Because I know you say POS. Well, what does that mean to someone who's new to the laundromat industry? So can you go through all the services that they can use CleanCloud for?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, like, so point of sales is kind of like handles all of your basic in-store stuff, taking the order, managing your workflow, cleaning, managing your wash and fold, having a kind of Kanban, drag and drop stuff of like where stuff is in your machines as you're kind of doing your wash and fold order, automating like notifications to your customers, keeping them abreast of everything. Point of sale also kind of helps take care of like all of the marketing stuff that you can do. So we have all of these great marketing features. You can automate all of your marketing, automate drip campaigns. So like we kind of help take care of that. We have all of this kind of like customer management stuff, like a CRM for your customers. So you can get really close to your customers. We have two-way inboxes. So we can send your customers like, SMS notifications, email notifications, WhatsApp notifications, and push notifications directly to the apps as well. They can reply to those. So you can have a kind of direct two-way conversation with your customers, both through marketing, through your notifications, and any just general messages you need to send your customer. We do like in terms of like pickup and delivery, we offer like customer apps, both iOS and Android, as well as kind of a website tool embed, which you can embed into your website, or we can host it for you. So we take care of all of your pickup and delivery needs, all of your kind of online account management that your customers expect. For your drivers to help manage that stuff, we have a driver app. So we have our own in-house driver app, which can do like route optimization, communicate via customers directly, all of that kind of good stuff that you would expect. So if you think like Uber driver app, we have that kind of equivalent. We integrate with all of these kind of gig economy partners. So for example, we integrate with DoorDash and Uber in the US. Then we have stuff like, we take care of your payroll. So we're the only people, I believe, that have a kind of direct integration with Gusto. So in just a couple of clicks, you can take care of all of your payroll for like each kind of pay period. So
do your employees actually clock in through the POS and then it automatically sends their hours and stuff to Gusto?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of like in CleanCloud, they're clocking in, clocking out. We're tracking all of their hours. We're tracking their overtime hours. You can have all your kind of custom rules like that. That directly feeds into your kind of Gusto account from within CleanCloud.
Does the POS system also keep track of like how many pounds they process and stuff if you wanted to do a bonus specific to like the pounds that they do?
Yeah, so we've been doing that too, right? So we track like how many items, say each member of staff has cleaned, how many like pounds of laundry they've processed. We also kind of track like, say all the tips that come in, whether it's for an in-store order or for a pickup and delivery order. And then we let you kind of toggle the percentage. Say for an order that's a pickup and delivery order, you can say, okay, I want like 30% of that tip to go to the driver. I want like, 20% to go to whoever cleaned the order. And you can have kind of sliders to decide how how the tip is going to be split between your members of staff.
Yeah, very cool. So what is the team on the engineering side? What does that look like today? Is most of your technology work that's done in-house, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so everything is done in-house. Like, I guess, like, whenever we come to like building a feature, we do ask, like, should we build it ourselves or should we do an integration? Sometimes it's like easier if you want like a quick feature or the feature is kind of too complicated to think about integrating with like an outside partner. The only problem with that is that integrations are something you have to maintain. And it's also that feature is not quite perfectly designed for the industry. And so like, it starts to kind of fragment over time a little bit. It's not quite good enough. And so for a lot of those features that we used to kind of outsource to external partners, we started to decide, actually, let's just build them. We have the expertise in-house. Let's build like the kind of laundromat and dry cleaning version, like specific version of that product. A good example of that is like, we used to kind of outsource a lot of our automated marketing to using an integration with something like MailChimp or with ActiveCampaign. And then we decided like, okay, this is just a little bit hard to manage. Also, those softwares are very expensive. So some of our customers were spending something like $500 just on like an ActiveCampaign, whatever they were paying ActiveCampaign every month.
Right.
So then we basically decided actually like it's not that it's not rocket science what they're doing in ActiveCampaign or like MailChimp or similar software. So we decided to build that in-house, and we basically realized all of the things that they were trying to do with that software. We brought that into CleanCloud. We offer that as part of like our core subscription. And effectively, yeah, by doing that, we built a better product. It's better integrated with our product. It's more kind of aligned with the laundromat industry, and it's saving them a lot of money. So it's kind of like a huge value that we're kind of trying to help offer the industry. And we're kind of democratizing it in the sense that it's no longer the domain of like someone who's prepared to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, that's powerful for those newbies in the beginning. We talk about that a lot, about if you want to scale up quickly using, Google AdWords and things like that, which can get pretty pricey to pay someone to manage it and things like that. And there's a place and a time for that. But a lot of times when you're launching and you have, 10 customers, it's like, well, having a $2,000 marketing budget or more, a lot of times isn't in the cards for people. A lot of times they're launching pickup and delivery to generate more revenue out of their laundromat. And the last thing they want to do is spend $3,000 a month on marketing. And they're like, yeah, when I get to $50,000 a month, okay, maybe I could throw a couple thousand at it. But I think it's pretty powerful to have tools like that built into the software itself that are custom specifically for our industry. That's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, earlier you said something about how it can do drip campaigns, and you mentioned ActiveCampaign. I'm familiar with it, but I know we have people in the audience who may not be. Can you describe what you mean by a drip campaign and what software like ActiveCampaign can do for our viewers?
Yeah, so a drip campaign is effectively like someone has kind of shared their email address or their phone number with you. And then, as you've got that piece of information, you might then decide like, okay, I'm going to send them an SMS right now or an email, and you want to send them a kind of nice email template. Then you might put in a condition, something like, okay, like wait 2 days. It's going to wait 2 days for you. Then you're going to set some new conditions, like has this customer placed an order with us, or have they placed their second order with us, something like that. And then you have a kind of decision tree. If it's yes, then you send them down one path and one set of marketing automation happens. If not, you might say, okay, they've expressed interest in our business, but they haven't actually placed their order. Like I might have spent some money acquiring this customer marketing, but I haven't got them over the line. So at that point, you might decide, okay, let's see, like, okay, for some reason they haven't placed an order. Maybe they thought it was slightly too expensive. Then you're going to basically automatically send them a tailored SMS note or push notification, WhatsApp, or email. Coupon, exactly, yeah. So it's like that kind of stuff, right? And then you just build your decision tree based on all of your conditions. And some people will set up, big kind of spider webs of kind of different like routing for where the customer is going to go. And they go through your kind of funnel like that. Because I think it's this thing that like, your people are now increasingly spending a lot of money on Google Ads, like the kind of like PPC prices has gone up, CPC price. And so like, I think we're increasingly looking at like making sure whoever we bring into the funnel, we are actually converting into like a long-term high paying customer. And so we're really looking at like, if we're going to spend that money, we need to make sure we're capturing them. So I think, yeah, it's like a kind of just efficiency thing, tracking, getting better at tracking your PPC. We have those features in CleanCloud as well. So, like you can kind of, when you set up your PPC, you can have those kind of tracking terms in your URL. And we can do stuff like if they come and then they go to your web booking tool in CleanCloud, we can capture like the source that they've come from. When they sign up, we can capture, okay, this customer came from this marketing campaign. CleanCloud then knows that, and then CleanCloud then has visibility of all of the spending that customer has done. You can go into CleanCloud and you can say, okay, I spent, say, like, I don't know, $5,000 last month on Google PPC. You can then look at like, okay, that campaign brought in all of these customers into my CleanCloud account, and those customers went on to spend like, $20,000 over the next 6 months kind of thing. So like trying to get a little bit better at like helping you tailor which are your most effective campaigns, because say in Google, you can kind of track, okay, I converted a customer. In your Google Ads account, it will show like you might value a conversion at a certain dollar rate, but you don't know for sure that those guys are the ones going through and like generating a lot of kind of good behavior that you like to see, a lot of revenue in the right places. And so we're trying to surface all of that information so you can tailor making sure your ad spend is being well spent, basically.
Oh, nice. So you all help with basically the Google ads and helping them track whether their Google ads are effective and what their pay-per-click is and following that customer. And then going back to what's similar to ActiveCampaign, I want to just highlight that, when you talk about building that whole tree with those triggers of yes or no in the chain, it's once you set it up, it's set it and forget it. Like basically you can set it up for when anyone enters my site, but they do not place an order, then 3 days later, I send them this email or this coupon or this whatever. And once you have those trees set up, you don't have to keep going back into it. It's not like going in and manually saying, send this person a text message, send this one an email. Whether you already have a laundromat or are looking to get into the laundry industry, everyone needs proper drainage. We use HM Company drain troughs. Their drain troughs were first created in 1991, and they have been the leading drain trough manufacturer ever since. They're made in the USA, and their drain troughs are fully customizable to meet your needs. That's why we've used them ever since entering the industry. They're easy to clean for our staff and plenty sturdy when we need to walk on them when servicing our washers. With the ability to span up to 25 feet, our troughs rarely need to be connected together, creating an easy installation. Want to slope your trough like we do? No problem. Just let the experts at HM Company know. For more information, go to their website at draintroughs.com. That is draintroughs.com. HM Company Drain Troughs. They've been leading the industry since 1991. Check them out today. I do wonder though, so not everybody that owns a laundromat, this might shock you, not everyone that owns a laundromat is super tech savvy like me. Like I'm one of them that's not. But will you help your clients kind of develop those branches and those trees for those? Do you have like a group that will help them develop those automatic triggers and everything for those campaigns?
Yeah, the beauty of us as a business, we have some like fantastic customers, and we release these kinds of features, and then our users are using them and they're seeing success. And the good thing about having a community, within CleanCloud or outside of CleanCloud, is that people can share things. So something that we're now doing is kind of sharing those recipes, and they can just set it and forget it, as you said.
Yeah. And that's something, we actually had a webinar today on this very topic. So I think we had like over 100 people attend a webinar just a couple of hours ago. Where we had one of our customers, Charles Measley. I think he basically took people through like some of the good things that he does in his CleanCloud account. And so like once you're kind of CleanCloud customer, you get access to our CleanCloud community group where there's a lot of people kind of sharing best practices. Both about how to use CleanCloud, but also just, general kind of laundromat kind of Q&A or like advice kind of stuff. We have a whole series of webinars. We've got a lot of kind of internal resources, both video based and we have a huge help desk, which is kind of powered by AI as well. So it's very quickly for you to just ask a question and you get a very direct response. If you don't get that response, then our 24/7 support team is there to kind of just answer any of your questions at any time. With this marketing feature in particular, we're building a big kind of library of templates of like best practices, good ideas. So you can very basically quickly go in, create like a campaign. You can say like, oh, I want one that will do this effectively. You select that, press OK. That will just set the whole thing up for you. And then you're basically ready to go kind of thing. So
oh, nice.
Kind of like, yeah.
I think one of the challenges we have as a business is, we have so many features. But it's almost it sometimes becomes difficult to educate all customers about how to use them, and like anything, you build something, you release it, but we can always get better about telling you how to use it and the benefits of using it. And I think that's across all software providers as well. Within the industry or with not, it's like, and that's something that we're getting better at.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of support built in, which is great, because I know a lot of laundromat owners are still operating their laundromats. Like we're we're rare that, you know, we have a team that basically operates our business and we're able to do things like this podcast and, you know, and all the Laundromat Millionaire stuff. But a lot of people, they can't leave their business. So if you're running the day-to-day operations, you don't have time to build trees of marketing, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why they need support to do that.
Before we started recording, David, you also mentioned something you all have implemented to help people develop websites too. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So it was like, that was like one of the kind of very early challenges actually that I think it was only about like we've been going over 10 years. And I think about 3 or 4 years in, we realized, okay, people are really struggling just to get websites online, which was quite amazing. Like even then we found that amazing, and it's still true today.
It is.
So a long time ago, we kind of implemented a very basic website builder, which was kind of cookie cutter, that kind of thing, very easy to set up. But then we started to find, okay, people weren't necessarily didn't think that was good enough. And so they were going back to things like Squarespace, Wix, like all of WordPress, whatever, building their websites there. But then they would struggle to kind of integrate CleanCloud into it. We have a very simple kind of website embed tool, which you can just put into your website. But then they were they would struggle to do that. They didn't have the expertise to be able to do that, or there might be a limitation with WordPress, whatever. That was just a little bit of a challenge. But also they wanted things they wanted to be able to have a live pricing page on their website, which pulled from the same database as CleanCloud. So all of that kind of stuff, having a contact form which feeds into CleanCloud's inbox. So then we took another crack at a website builder, which we released last year, I believe. And it's very it's all fully developed in-house. It's effectively like Squarespace for the laundromat industry. So you can very quickly build a website that's fully customizable. We give you some templates. So if you're not too into that kind of thing, you can very quickly, we have a little wizard thing where you can just click through, choose some options, and it'll generate a website for you, which is kind of fully hosted for you. We take care of all of those kind of pain points for you, or you can go in and you can you can fully customize every single thing. Every single thing is, you can click on it, you could edit it, see exactly how it's going to look, save it, make drafts, do all of that kind of stuff. And that's helped us a lot, both in kind of making it a lot easier and a lot cheaper and a better value for laundromats in just getting a digital presence out there. We solved that, kind of helped solve the SEO challenge a little bit for them, the design challenge, the hosting challenge, mobile, being mobile friendly.
That's phenomenal. So the website tools that you're describing that you've built into the platform and the marketing tools and things like that, those are included with a subscription of CleanCloud, or those are an additional subscription, or kind of a bolt-on service, or how does, I know you don't want to share prices because they change, but how does that work exactly?
Yeah, so we've always had fairly simple, transparent pricing. So we have 3 different tiers, and they're based on whether you want in-store software only, pick-up and delivery software, and if you want sort of advanced marketing tools.
Okay.
And so anywhere from sort of $100 up to sort of $200 per month is kind of what we charge for each of the 3 tiers. And then we tend to just bundle everything in together and not have lots and lots of bolt-ons to the product.
Yeah.
It's something we've had in the past, where you charge extra for this and this and this. And I think customers just became too confused about what they needed and what they didn't. So it'd rather say, this, you kind of fit into one of these 3 different tiers, and then you're on your way.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like our pickup and delivery pricing. We always push the all-in-one pricing. It's not 10 cents more if you want a hanger, and 5 cents more if you want this detergent. And
so people think you're nickel and diming them. So yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what we've learned.
You've already factored into your pricing, haven't you?
Sure.
And so you don't need to charge for these extra things.
I think one of the big differentiators with your software from what I've heard of other carriers is the fact that you all are in so many different countries. I know some of the others are just exclusively to the US or US and Canada or whatever. Are there any countries you can't hit? Because our audience is growing. We're having
have an
people
international
from
audience.
We
We do.
do. Yeah, we've even had some people come into workshops from like New Zealand and Australia. Are there any
Yeah,
countries you can't?
No. Like we've always been very good. The product's always traveled well. I think because ultimately CleanCloud in the name. That the product was designed to be used by everyone, regardless of whether they use technology on a daily basis or don't, whether they speak English as their first language or they don't. Many of our users, especially in the US, they speak Spanish as their first language. And so, the user interface, how the product looks, how it feels to use, has always been quite intuitive, which means it then travels well to different countries. And also it means we don't have to, support people in all these random countries because obviously, I don't speak Korean, yet we have customers, lots of customers in South Korea that use it, every day. And so, yeah, I think that's something we've always been good at. But yeah, as Dave mentioned, we've invested, a lot of time, a lot of resource in making our product. Obviously it's great to speak to customers if they have issues. But I think as of this month, like 70% of our support tickets, maybe slightly more, have all been self-serve.
I think it's 80, yeah.
Yeah, 80% using it. We've got like an AI bot that we use, which obviously we have like millions and millions of support tickets that we can scrape knowledge off. And then if someone has a query or has an issue, the first point of call is this bot. And then what happens is if the bot can't resolve it, it then goes straight to a human to resolve. And then what happens after that is we've got a dedicated team member. So this is literally all he does day in, day out, is then looks at all of those support tickets that the AI bot didn't resolve, and then, looks at improving the responses, improving the support articles. So that takes a lot of time and effort. And that's what years and years of doing what we do has helped us to do. But as I say, there's always customers that want to get you on the phone, but equally it's very difficult for us as a business to scale to the size we are and the number of countries we are by having someone, on the phone all the time. And in fact, from our CSAT, which again is in the sort of high 90s, people like to get the answer resolved as quickly as possible. You don't have, it takes time to pick up the phone, call someone, and then get a response. Whereas if you can get an instant response, it can be triaged straight away. People actually value that more.
Yeah. I think so CSAT is customer satisfaction, right? Like, so whenever people have a support interaction, we ask for feedback. And I think, this month we're kind of looking at we have about 97% kind of customer satisfaction, people basically rating their support experience like excellent or above. Just to answer the original question about are there any countries we don't hit, and it's a very short list.
North Korea.
Any sanction countries.
China.
It might be. It's like Sudan, I think, that we can't
South
do.
Sudan, Russia,
China as well. Just because of China, you have to enter like a local partnership, have servers in China, all of that kind of stuff. So we haven't gone down that one either. So it's a short list. Unfortunately, there's a country that has, 1 billion plus people in it that we're not serving, but that's just what the industry, that's what
they need to talk to their government.
It's a lot of laundry, guys. It's a lot of laundry over there. So John, I have a question for you before we shift gears into kind of maybe a little bit different subject. And I always find it interesting that people that develop and run software like you guys do, you interact on a daily basis with thousands of customers, I'm guessing at this point, and have for 10 years. So I eventually want to shift into your knowledge of like actually helping people when they come to you as newbies. How do I launch and how do I scale? Obviously the software is for a tool for that, but I'm guessing you guys both have a lot of knowledge on helping newbies get into the industry too. But before I shift into that, I have one last question, because I think I heard you say a few minutes ago that in your, maybe it's your new headquarters, that you have something where people can come over and actually be trained on CleanCloud in your office?
That's correct.
Can you, did I understand that correctly? And can you go a little deeper to that?
It's something we're going to have in the US as well.
Okay.
That's the plan. But the idea is it's a combination of like an R&D, space where, we can test out new products and services. Obviously, our offering is expanded over the years. And we can get customers to come in and help kind of, work with us on new products, whatever that might be. And also, a space where our customers can like bring their employees, because, we get, there's quite a lot of our customers that want us to go and visit them, and they're used to maybe someone, an operator software operator going in and doing setup and training their staff in person. And that, that's not our business model, because, ultimately we want to help as many businesses as we can. So it's not commercially viable for us to go and visit someone, but equally we want to give them that experience. And so, what we've done is created an incredible space where, people can come to us. It gives them an opportunity to kind of maybe ask those questions that they maybe wouldn't want to, try out new things. We can help to teach them sort of best practices. And yeah, it's been amazing to do that. And, obviously for me, it's great to just meet our customers. Our industry is about relationships, isn't it? And it's about reputation. It's about relationships. And yeah, obviously we make mistakes, but, hopefully we do more good things than we do bad things. And, ultimately people can accept that if you then rectify them and improve things. So.
Would you like to make more money from your laundromat? Would you like those machines you're paying for to have more turns per day? Do you offer wash, dry, fold services or pickup and delivery laundry services? If not, would you like to? Whether you do or not, we have an amazing opportunity for you in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah, you've probably heard about it, guys, but it's our wash, dry, fold, pickup, and delivery workshop. And to answer your first question, yes, it is for drop-off laundry, wash, dry, fold, and pickup and delivery. So if you're doing any of those things, this workshop is going to help you tremendously. But the truth is, we were pretty so-so laundromat owners and so-so successful until we launched drop-off laundry and pickup and delivery. And being able to, what I call, optimize your laundromat to generate more profit and more revenue out of the existing facility, that's the key to taking your life from good to great, financially speaking, with laundromats. And that's what made us Laundromat Millionaires.
You don't have to just listen to us. Listen to what some of our past attendees have to say about our Wash, Dry, Fold, Pickup and Delivery workshop in Cincinnati, Ohio.
It was the best workshop I've attended in over 25 years. And what you guys have put together is nothing short of phenomenal. I think that you guys have put together both strategic and tactical systems that will make an individual who wants to own the laundromat profitable within months, not years.
Was the workshop worth the investment? Without a doubt, it was definitely worth the investment. So not only did we have two very packed days with Dave and Carla and their team, both in the classroom and touring the facilities, but we also came away with this extensive 100-page handbook. And then after the workshop was completed, I received a bunch of electronic performers and templates that we've been able to use since the workshop. Every day since the workshop, I've found myself referring back to either those electronic tools or the handbook that I received. So,
was it worth the investment? Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I cannot say that enough. This was such a blessing, and I am so very grateful that Dave and Carla put this together and are sharing their knowledge and experience with others to have this to grow their business and to become more successful. Thank you, guys.
So are you interested? Go to laundromatmillionaire.com to learn more and see where you can register. I do have one question that's, I guess, software related. Can your POS communicate with like the washers and dryers? Like, can they pull up data about like their turns per day or anything like that? I wasn't sure what that looks like.
Yeah, so like we kind of try and work with like all of the different payment systems, for example, that there are out there in the industry, and all of those different payment systems have different degrees of integration that are currently available. They're all trying to kind of currently expand their offerings so that integration can look better and better. So it depends on the integration, like how much information can go backwards and forwards. So, we've been working on this integration with Alliance for a while. We've been working on that. All of the Speed Queen franchise stores in the US, they all use CleanCloud. And so we've been kind of co-developing like that kind of integration with them, and like working with Alliance's software team to make sure that all of that stuff works well. So that's for like Alliance's kind of like quantum touch machines, both on the Speed Queen side and on the Hubsch side. Then we have integrations with people like TangerPay, for example, and that's stuff like, you can, in CleanCloud, you can manage all of your wash and fold workflow. As you say, drag like the order through to like the washing stage in CleanCloud. It's going to ask you like which machine it's going to go into. They tap that. They tap like any kind of modifiers that's going to go on that order. That will automatically vend the machine for them. So they just have to basically tell CleanCloud, like, okay, this order is going in here. It sends a signal to the machine to vend it, so that then it's ready for like the wash and fold person to basically just put the laundry in, like, press the start button, that kind of stuff.
Okay. So I think what I'm hearing from you is it depends on the payment type. So before, maybe if we're like a newbie getting into the industry and we decide we want to use CleanCloud, maybe talk to you all first about which integration for payment systems is best.
Yeah, it's interesting because that is changing quite quickly. So in the past, the only way to talk to the machines was through a third-party payments provider who would put, they'd put something on the machine or something in the machine.
Yeah.
But as David mentioned, Alliance and to be honest, all the major major machine manufacturers are opening up their sort of machines, their APIs, which will allow any software provider to communicate. Because ultimately they want, software providers like CleanCloud to communicate, to pull that data, to give business operators the full, self-serve and, wash, dry, fold data that they need. So that's basically where the industry's sort of, developing. Ultimately, we want to give operators the full story about, how the business is doing. Both on the self-serve and the wash, dry, fold side of things.
And it depends on the market as well, right? So some of these different payment systems have like different ways. It might be like it's more app-based for some. Others are like, there's a prepaid card that you buy in the store. Some might be a kind of card machine on every single like washer or dryer. It might be a QR code kind of solution. And
there's all different ways to pay.
And it might be like they still want to offer coins, so they want to offer hybrid. And like those questions are very specific to the laundromat and the laundromat owner understanding their own kind of core target audience. And so because that's in play, we're kind of not looking to dictate like this is the integration you should use. We basically try and offer integrations with all of them. And we have we can ask our customers who are kind of asking for recommendations based on what their customers are like. We can kind of take them through that process, like the pros and cons and all of them. And then we would pass them on to like that integration kind of thing.
So I have a question I didn't know I was going to ask you all. and this might be a little bit of putting you on the spot. So, feel free to say none of your business, Dave. But what do you, I was just talking to somebody, and I don't want to make their name public, but I was just talking to somebody in the industry that's pretty well known, probably a month ago. And they were commenting that I don't know if they said they hope or they wish or something along those lines, that our industry and all the different hardware companies and all the different manufacturers and all the different software providers and even marketing companies and things like that. And they made the very flippant comment, but it really turned a gear for me. And when that happens, I usually don't let things go. And they were referring to like the whole Elon of the world and the open source of everything. Just feel free to not answer or give me your opinion on this. You might even have different opinions or if you've given it any thought, but when it comes to integration, it requires both parties, cooperating for the benefit of the customer, right? But I find it fascinating, and we tend to be the kind of people that, although we get some people to make some assumptions about loyalties to certain companies and manufacturers or whatever that 99% of the time aren't true. But I guess the question is, what are your thoughts around our industry going to like open source type of sharing? I think as an independent operator who doesn't really have a dog in the hunt and just want what's better for everybody, I think us operators, most of us would probably agree that would be for the betterment of the industry, but it definitely takes more of a abundance type of mindset from everyone. I mean, and not that everyone has to cooperate, but for all those that do, of like, yeah, you might be giving away some of your secret sauce, so to speak, right? So what are your thoughts on that? And if you don't even have any, that's fine too. They triggered something in me, and I'm going to keep having conversations around this because I can see an awful lot of benefit, but I can see why people would want to fight that too. I can understand that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, one of the key things, we've been very good at this from the beginning in trying to make everything kind of interoperable. So I think we were the first and maybe like one of the very few that has an open API. So we've had that for a good kind of 5 years. Yeah, so we've had an API for something like 5 years, something like that. We introduced it pretty early on. A lot of our customers use it. They build kind of integrations off it. So it might have been they wanted to have a feature that CleanCloud didn't have, but they kind of, they know a bit of kind of like coding. And so they would just kind of very quickly use our API. They could achieve what they wanted to do before CleanCloud had that as a feature. People were kind of building their own kind of iOS and Android apps because, they wanted something that wasn't yet in our app that we could offer them. They wanted to have their own custom stuff. And so they would use the API to do that. We let them use it to extract customer information. And so like they could build all kinds of automations or using their own code to do that. People sometimes just come in and like they don't even officially contact us. They figure out like, hey, I can like sell a service that basically like leverages CleanCloud's API and also webhooks that we offer now. So like webhooks is a way to communicate instant events that happen. So we released webhook support last year as well, I believe. And so you can kind of we can send code to your server or like your Zapier account or something like that to ping it to say, hey, this event has just happened, like an order is created, a customer is created, all of these kind of different things. So we have something like 15 different webhooks that we currently send, and we're expanding that. And very quickly, you can kind of your data is basically just moving around the place, right? So like, it's almost like data is the new currency, right? And so our kind of opinion on that is like, let's just liberate it, because if we can like help that kind of water flow or whatever, to use like a metaphor or analogy, like it's better for our customers. And we're all about like making it as good as possible for our customers, whether you're a power user or like a newbie kind of thing. And so we are very open on this stuff.
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, we'll look in our Facebook community, we'll learn like someone is, pitching a product to our customers.
Really?
It's like a kind of, effectively they're billing it like as a kind of add-on to CleanCloud, whether they're making their own little AI product, which is leveraging our API. And so they will sell that to our customers sometimes. And, if it's a great idea, we might think
make your own.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's like the Amazon model, right? So Amazon will like see people, they'll basically be looking at what products are selling really well, and then all of a sudden the Amazon Basics version of that product shows up. And so unfortunately, like that will happen to you, and Apple does the same.
Sure.
These people do the same. And so for us, we're kind of like always looking to just be at the very like frontier of what we're offering, and like all of the stuff that we've released before, we kind of bank it. It's not like we kind of want to like hover over it like a dragon and just try and extract as much money out of it as possible. For us, it's always continuously improve the product, and we will charge our customers for the very best stuff. And then if you want extra stuff, someone else, we want them to also be able to assist with that. So we've always had that as a policy, I think, from the beginning. Yeah.
I love that.
Anything you want to add, John, or did he cover it?
Yeah, I think we get on well with the other operators, whether they're direct competitors or not. And so having an open, relationship and having open sort of ways to share data with, those operators, those suppliers is important to us. I spoke today to a machine payments company, very well known, and they're kind of opening up their data to allow us to, improve the integration, and that's what we want to do. But equally there are operators that don't want to do that, and my personal opinion is that they'll probably be left behind, because ultimately the ones that are willing to be open with the industry are going to be the ones that are going to succeed, and the ones that want to keep everything proprietary are the ones that will eventually go by the wayside.
Yeah, I like that. Your focus is all about the better customer experience. I mean, it's the same thing in our laundromats. We don't hold back the other laundromats in our area. We just try to serve our customers the best we can. And if other laundromats want to copy us, go for it. At the end of the day, if you're serving your customer, you're going to hold on to those customers. So.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I think that abundance mindset always wins. So I love to hear that. I can't say that I'm that surprised knowing you guys a little bit. But I didn't know that about you, that you're kind of already there. So I think that's pretty cool for everyone else listening out there, because I like to talk to fictitious people as the industry. Get on board, guys, or you're going to be left behind. So before we let you guys go, I want to real quickly, if we can, I know we're running out of time, but you guys have been at this for 10 years. So I think it's pretty safe to say that through the last 10 years, you've been privy to an awful lot of newbies, an awful lot of people that are somewhere in the middle of their journey. We call that the scaling phase, or probably a lot of I think you've used the term like power operators or something like that, but people that are already at the top of the industry, so to speak, and they're kind of just trying to get that last 2 or 5%. We call that optimization, trying to optimize their business, and they're running substantial businesses. And I would imagine that you've collected a lot of knowledge from interacting with and speaking to and hearing the needs of all of those. So if I were to just give you guys like 10 or 15 minutes to just kind of pour into our audience, what are some things that you think really, or maybe just things you recognize of operators that really differentiate them? Like, I'll go first and just point out like that abundance mindset. I think anytime I find a top of the industry type of entrepreneur in any industry, they tend to have that abundance mindset. And maybe it's a little more nitty gritty about the laundromat industry specifically, but what's some knowledge that we can kind of pour into to our audience?
Something that we notice of that kind of top of the industry mindset stuff is it tends to be those customers that will come to our kind of cutting edge webinars. And those are the people who are kind of like, they're curious still about their business. Like, they're always looking for little ways to improve it. And they realize like CleanCloud is a tool that can improve their business. So obviously there's, huge amounts of stuff they can do in the business, but they realize like the software optimization game for their business is very important. And like, say, learning about new stuff, always being curious, like also being able to like kind of have an impact and provide feedback on the product. Because say we will have like a webinar where we're talking about all of our new releases, the latest and greatest stuff. Those same people who have that attitude about always learning, like sometimes it's about like the big feature, sometimes it's about the attention to detail and knowing like what's important, like what's going to like be the thing that you can really leverage. And so I think it is that, right? It's curiosity, enjoying the business, like understanding, like, if you can improve something, like where your time is best spent, I think as well, right? Because some owner operators will get stuck in the weeds of the business and they might be amazing and they'll realize like, oh, I am probably still the best person at doing this for my business, but that might not be what your business needs, right? Your business needs a leader who can make decisions, make good investment choices, all of that kind of stuff. And that person needs to be learning all of the time, because your staff should be the ones doing the folding, doing the washing, like, having that kind of experience. So I think it's like, yeah, being able to extract yourself and like sit on this like kind of position where you can see everything about your business, but also always be learning. So it's like that kind of stay hungry, stay foolish kind of mindset.
Curiosity, that's a big one. What about you? Anything to add to that, John? I know you might even interact with the customers more than David does on a typical, I don't know. But anything to add there?
Yeah, I would say the kind of the operators that I've known the longest that have kind of grown as we've grown, the really successful ones, it's not just like they're curious and they're still hungry, but they're very much focused on having the best operation like possible, like process like that. And as as very successful, couple in terms of training the best operators, ultimately, if you have a good process and then, everything else can kind of fall into place, because that's what can kill a newbie. Like David kind of mentioned, like we do get people that, they start with CleanCloud and they try and over engineer things too much. And, they're focused on, what the process should be, if they had 1,000 customers. And for us, is like, just focus on getting those first 10, 20, 30 customers that are regular. That's it. Just focus on them. Forget about the, thousands of customers that you think you can get on day one, because that's what's going to kill you as an operator.
Yeah.
And so, it's obviously being adaptable, because, the process as you start will change as you grow. You'll add, different layers of management, different layers of employment, different types of customers, expanded routes, etc. And so, you have to be adaptable. You have to have good process depending on your size of business. You have to really be laser focused on where you need to get to today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and don't try and think too much, in the future. Obviously, you have a vision where you want to get the business to, but you also need to recognize that there are steps to get there. You don't just go from here to here. And so the best operators that I've seen have been very adaptable, and I've also, especially when it comes to software, like all the softwares do lots of different things, and you need to think about, what do I need the software to do for my business today? Obviously, we can offer lots of different things, but you may just want to do, in-store wash, dry, folds as of today. But obviously pick up delivery you can think about in the future. Don't try and launch everything at once. Don't go 100 miles an hour. Give your employees the opportunity to really be comfortable with the system, with the process, and then eventually, you'll be successful. And have a good website.
Have a website, right? Have a website.
The amount of people that we speak to that don't have any sort of online presence, even if you have a successful business, think about what you could do by having a good website. You could be doing a lot more.
Very well said. I hear that all the time. I've been in the business for 6 years and I'm successful and I don't have a website. Exactly. And my response to that every time is, imagine all that meat you've left on the bone, because it's just staggering. So
yeah, can I say a bit more?
Sure,
so,
absolutely.
I mean, a good thing is, if you think about what I think the Walmart guy, Sam
Walton.
Yep.
Yeah. And so his thing was, he was just obsessed with checking out what his competitors were up to, right? So every single store that he would come across, he would walk in, he would take notes or do kind of voice recording about what that store is doing better than his kind of initial Walmart stores. And that's the thing that basically led him to turn Walmart into the kind of most customer friendly, enormous kind of operation that people are really excited about, right? And so just being humble and saying I will just go check out what my customers are doing. A lot of people don't really think to do that. And so it might be walk into their store, place an order with them. Why not? Check out their website, check out I don't know, go find the highest rated laundromat on Google Maps and just go in on Street View, take a look at what the outside of the store looks like, take a look at all of their signage. You don't have to be like Sam Waltman. You don't need to actually go to these places anymore. You can look at their website, look at their pricing, look at I don't know, how they're onboarding their customers, check out Street View, all of this kind of stuff. You've got to be humble. And there's so many good examples out there of good behavior, good practices.
Yeah.
and like just basically take all of that learning out there and bring it into your business. And I think also, yeah, like John said, like it's a strange industry, right? Because some people like refer to industry kind of like the cockroach industry. So it survives every kind of nuclear bomb that,
I've never heard that said, but that's well said.
Yeah, right?
That's well said.
So, it survived COVID grave, for example, and all of this kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's a very changeable industry, right? So, we think about things like all of these new competitors, whether it was kind of Washio, like, 8 years ago, or like, services like Rinse, or something like Poplin, and, like all of these kind of services that are there. And so you've got to think like, okay, these people are now competing for my customers. And so like all of that stuff about digital presence, marketing, like for you as an owner, that stuff has been very important, like very recently, like getting on top of that stuff. And so I think either being able to like as a kind of owner to be able to delegate that to the right person who can take care of your marketing, or for that person to realize this is the most important thing, like in this industry at this moment in time, I need to get good at it. And those people are going out there and learning it themselves, finding the right tools, doing the right things with it. So it's kind of be flexible or finding the right people. And so we've seen that a lot, right? Like a lot of our customers, they really want to push us on like, we love this marketing tool you have, but it should do this as well. So they're also pushing us as well to make the product better. And so we have, insanely long lists of like different ideas and stuff, and we try and distill it all down into the best things. But yeah, those guys who are pushing us like tend to be like the most successful as well, right? The people that are making a lot of money, like the laundromat millionaires out there. And yeah, maybe we'll soon see the first laundromat billionaire. Like, who knows?
That'd be nice.
That would be nice. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't see it happening. I'm not afraid to dream. Don't you dare me to dream.
So overall, what I hear from you all is really what you see in those front runners is that desire for constant improvement in everything that you're saying. Whether you're looking at the competitors and looking for ideas from them, or whether you're, networking with other people in the industry, or you're just looking at your own business and looking over top of it and saying, how can we be better? How can we continually be better? And I think that's the key message to take home here is manage your people and keep being better. In baby steps.
Well, we can always do better. That's the thing. You can always improve, and like whether you do software, whether you run a successful laundromat, it's about improving.
I always say there's opportunities to learn from everyone. Even if you see a business model that in general you think is flawed or broken or whatever, I'm just looking for those golden nuggets is what I call them. I'm just always looking for those 1%, those 0.5%. Can I tweak my business just a little? We have a philosophy. I always say I have a philosophy in my business life, but also in my personal life of just my only goal is I'm competing with myself. I just want to be better tomorrow than I was yesterday. As a husband, as a dad, as a business owner, and I've kind of instilled those things into our team. And I see that as something that's pretty recognizable in all of the people that I either say are at the top of the industry or are well on their way to being at the top of the industry. You can almost pick them out nowadays. So it's pretty cool, but it's pretty exciting where our industry is. When I look at it through the lens of 2009, when we got into the business, I always say that the first 5 years that we were in the industry was very different than the next 5 years as an industry, the totality of all of us. And the last 5 years are drastically different than the prior 5 years. And so I can't wait to see where we're going next, as an industry, as a whole. So love it.
AI everything. That's what it seems like.
If I
there won't even be laundromats. AI is going to do our laundry.
If I can figure out how to get a chatbot to fold laundry, I'll do it, guys. I'll do it. I'm not afraid.
Yeah, we could look into our crystal ball a little bit, right? And kind of like speculate a bit about where that might go on like kind of medium term. It's a very interesting question, right? Because you've got potentially all of the self-driving cars. And so what does that mean for pickup and delivery? Like, will the cost per mile of like delivering that like suddenly become like a lot easier, that challenge? Then you have all of this stuff about, like kind of humanoid style robots, and like, will that become cost effective and generalizable enough that, a humanoid wash and fold robot. Could
I mean,
be
they've already got the folding machines.
They do, yeah. But
Yeah.
but more of like a humanoid one that can walk around the store and effectively do a lot of similar things to what your staff are doing. And what is the cost of that going to be? Is it going to be more of a kind of capital expenditure like challenge for the business, where you're paying for these things up front and they realize a longer term kind of return? And then what does that mean for centralization in the industry? Or is it going to get, would the humanoid robot get to that price point where everyone would just have one in their home? And then,
Like the Jetsons.
Let's go home, Rosie. Never fear while Rosie's here.
It's Rosie to the rescue.
Sorry,
Exactly.
I'm old.
And then it's like, are they going to do the folding at home? So it's kind of like, instead of going to the laundromat or like, so rather outsource your folding, someone else is going to do that, or your robot's going to do that at home, right?
Yep.
And so that's like, on the next 5, 10, 15 years, some of these things might suddenly get very real. It's a bit speculative at the moment, but it's definitely worth thinking about, like how the industry is going to change. Drone delivery is another one. Like, can you have a very quiet drone delivery that can deliver like 20 pounds of laundry, like, and offer a good experience with a very low cost per mile? Like, that could be a very real thing in the next 5 years. And so there's a lot of exciting stuff. And then, every market and micro market is different, right? Like we talk about microclimates, there's micro markets on this side of thing. And so we are kind of here, like we were saying earlier, let's be as open as possible. Lots of opportunities like out there. We're here to kind of help you realize all of those. Like we're a technology kind of provider that like we kind of marry up with all of these different owner operators. The idea is we work together as much as possible to basically take on the challenges of the market and kind of meet the customers where their expectations are, basically. So that's our kind of vision. And so, let's see what the future offers.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Love it. Crazy.
It's a new frontier.
I was just getting ready to say, I was talking to somebody about 2 weeks ago, and they made the very subtle comment. They were like, we're living in the Jetson era. All right. Well, listen, guys, we want to let you go today. But first of all, thank you for the time, because you've run over with us today, and this is fantastic. So as we told you in the beginning, hey, if it runs over and it's valuable for the audience, this will just might be a little bit longer episode, which, we're grateful to you guys for. But before we let you go, how can people reach you guys? How can people get a hold of you guys? How can they do a demo or as much information as you want to share? Where do you prefer? What actions do you prefer that people take if they want to talk to maybe not you specifically, but the CleanCloud team? I know you're going to be at the Clean Show, of course, right? In August.
We'll be at the Clean Show in Orlando in August. I'm excited. I think that's my fourth Clean
That'd
Show.
be about right. Yep.
Yeah. They can send us an email. They can email directly, john@cleancloud.com. Visit our website, cleancloud.com.
You can go to, book a demo straight from the website. There's somewhere where you can click either you can create a free trial straight away. You can start playing with the software straight away, or you can book a demo. You can do it however you want it.
You can go right into it and create a demo and just start playing with it yourself.
Yeah. We're kind of like, we want to show you the software as quickly as possible, like have you get to like understand your pain point. And then even if you create a free trial, we'll still reach out to you, schedule a demo, give you a more kind of hand and glove kind of experience as well. So visit the website, book a demo, create a free trial, bring the phone number that's there. And then soon you'll be able to chat to our own little AI bot that'll be on our website as well. So,
and then they might be involved in a drip campaign, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then,
Awesome. Well, guys, we are once again, we don't take your time for granted. We really appreciate how busy, the two co-founders of CleanCloud are, and it means the world to us that you would come on here on the show and give value to our audience in this way. I know they're going to love this episode. This has been fantastic. So I'll leave you with, hey, let's not make this be the first time we do this. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Colin. That was great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you got it.
All
right.
We'll see you guys in a few months.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll see you at the Clean Show. For everybody back home, thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As I often say, Carla, go back, rewind it, listen to this again. And if you listen to it on 2 times the first time because you thought I was going to talk a lot, then go back, listen to it on 1 time because there's an awful lot of knowledge packed into this episode. So we will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining us today on another episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show, sponsored by HM Company, DrainTroughs.com. Take care, everyone.